Hello, good evening, neighbors and friends. This is Faisal Hassan, your member provincial parliament. And before I do, I would like to wish to acknowledge at this time the land that we now know as York Southwestern is a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuits, and Métis. Folks, recent discoveries in BC and Saskatchewan have placed a renewed focus on the tragic history of residential schools in Canada. Hundreds of children taken from their homes, never to be seen their families again. In their honor, I would like to welcome you to join me in a moment of silence to remember the precious lives of these innocent victims. Thank you, folks. Tonight we are celebrating Somali Heritage Week, the first ever celebrated in Ontario. And we have here also my leader, Andrew Horvat, the leader of the official opposition, and the Ontario NDP is also joining us for this occasion, and other distinguished members of the community, the well-known chef, Bashir Mounier, and also a model, Faris, and also a lawyer, Farah, and also other artists also will be joining us shortly. Before I further ado, I would like to welcome my leader, Andy Horvat.
Thank you so much, Faisal. I am so happy to be here with you. And I want to start by saying good work. Thank you so much for the work that you've done, along with community leaders in the Somali community, to make this a reality, to actually have the first Somali Heritage Week in the history of our province. It is absolutely fantastic. You've done amazing work, and thanks to you and all the others who you worked with to make this happen. And thanks to all the folks that are participating tonight, all the artists and the folks with so much talent that are here to share this celebration here kind of online, if you will. I know it's not the way we would really like to be doing it, but the second one next year will make up for the fact that this one was the first was having to be done in the context of COVID-19, sadly. But I just want to say thanks to everyone for being here. I think it's a really exciting and fantastic opportunity to celebrate. And I should start by saying happy Somali Heritage Week to everyone. It's just so awesome. Congratulations to all those community leaders, as I said, that worked with Faisal to have Bill 180 passed in the legislature to officially recognize June 25th to July 1st as Somali Heritage Week. Thank you for your leadership, for your dedication. It makes a huge difference in our imperative to celebrate all of the fantastic people who have chosen to make Ontario home. It's certainly our honor and our responsibility and our growth and our pleasure to honor and explore the cultures and the histories and the faiths that make up our province, that make up our home. It's what makes us such a beautiful, beautiful place. So tonight, sharing stories, listening and learning from one another, understanding our past as Canadians, which is something that that Faisal has already reflected on. It's extremely important to do that, as you all know, and that helps us to actually embrace a better future going forward. And so we can't shy away from those acknowledgements. But I think it's also really important to say that the diversity of experiences that people have in our province, that they have on all levels, whether it's where you lived before you came to Ontario, whether it's the language you speak, if it's not English as your first language, whether it's the arts and the culture and the food and the music that you bring with you to this great province, making sure that we, that we celebrate and that we highlight all of these things really does make us a stronger province, and gives us all common ground of knowledge and understanding to then move forward as we grow as a province and as a community. So I do want to say, for the Somali community, the contributions that you've made already to this province have been immense, and they will continue to grow. It's really important to celebrate the culture and heritage and contributions of the Somali community. I've been able to learn more about Somali Canadians and Somali Ontarians through my relationship and my knowledge of Faisal and the wonderful communities that he represents. But I think it's also really important to, to acknowledge the achievements of Somali people from the Horn of Africa and across Ontario. So I'm happy to celebrate with you tonight. I'm happy to celebrate not only the Heritage Week that we've been able to achieve, but also Somalia's Independence Day on July 1st, which is is a familiar date for Canadians. So that's
Exactly.
kind of cool.
Mhm.
It's very cool.
Absolutely.
And in closing, I just want to say, I know there's an exciting evening ahead. I do want to just say happy Somali Heritage Week, rather, and happy Independence Day to all of you. And now I'm going to try to say something, and I hope it comes out all right. Somalia Hanalato. Halalatu.
Hanarato. Yes, that's awesome.
Hanalatu.
Thank you.
Very good.
That's very good. Well, thank you. I know that my leader, Andrew Horvath, is extremely busy, as you can imagine, his schedule, but we thank you for joining us this evening.
My pleasure.
Thank you. And tonight, folks, those who have just joined, you're joining Faisal Hassan NDP through Facebook, and also Faisal Hassan NDP and Twitter, Faisal Hassan NDP, and also YouTube. Tonight we have distinguished guest members of the community who have done so much accomplishment. We're also waiting other two artists also will be joining us, Ayan Muse and also the dual artist Pharaoh. But also Faris is a model who has extensive experience on the model world, and also Bashir Moya is also a chef. Bashir Moya is also part of the new generation of Toronto chefs who are inspired by global cuisine while creating the future of local and sustainable food ideas. Currently, Bashir is culinary professor at George Brown College, food consultant, recipe developer, and an academic researcher. Also, we have Farah Isse, a lawyer, managing Isse Law Firm in collaboration with other lawyers, and primarily focuses on immigration and refugee law. And Faris Adam, a modeling for DNA models and super model management as well. Folks, welcome. And I know that we are expecting others to join us. And definitely, first I will start. Food also plays an important role in our culture and our food and history and culture and so on. So I'll bring Bashir Mounier, and also quickly those who are joining us also Facebook. If you have comments and questions, will be also included to bring also to our distinguished guest for your feelings about their presentations here as well. So Bashir Mounier, welcome.
Well, thank you so very much for having me. This is like really exciting. You might not know, but I actually grew up in Italy. So born in Mogadishu, Somalia. I lived for 13 years in Italy, so hence this little funny accent. I traveled across the States for a couple of years, and I've been in Toronto for 26 years. I'm married to a lovely woman from Barbados. We have 3 kids, 22-year-old who's a Ryerson. I have a 21-year-old who's trying to do an entrepreneurship business, and a 14-year-old. And I know some of you are looking in my faces like, how does this guy manage to have so many kids and looking so youthful? I got lost in the transition. I was actually maybe like Farah supposed to be going to university and become a lawyer, or maybe a politician like you. That was the desire that my mother had aspired for me, but I got lost in the transition after the Civil War, and I was shipped to the States. And when I moved to Toronto, I really found comfort and love in cooking. And I realized after 20 years that actually cooking for me was mostly a vessel to be able to talk about many of the oppressions that we have experienced throughout the time. So it is a great honor for me to be here this evening and being able to share some of my own personal growth and finding here. I really like the comment that Andrea have mentioned when it comes about the contribution of the Somali community here in Toronto and across Ontario. At times we've been made to feel over the past 20 years here that we are mostly recipients of all the wonderful things that Canada offers us. So it was great for her to take a moment to reflect on how many of us have really meaningfully contributed for the growth of this particular society as well. So I'm really grateful to be here this evening to talk with you.
Well, thank you. I'm looking exciting conversations as well about food. I love food, and also I have something in common with you. I've also spent some time in Italy, one of my teenage years as well, about 2 years and 8 months. I would like to bring Faris Adam, a model, who is joining us tonight. Are you there, Faris? I think is your camera on? While we wait, Faris, I will bring in Farah Issa quickly. I know Farah is a lawyer and knows about issues of social justice. And I know that Somali Heritage Week also you have supported as a leader. And this is also here now. And we are going to celebrate the first time Somali Heritage Week. So welcome.
Thank you, Faisal. Thank you very much for having me on this special event, the Somali Heritage Week. It is a very significant event for Somalis throughout Canada, throughout Ontario, and I'm very happy to see that this event has basically. This bill has passed and is recognizing the contributions of Somalis, of Somali entrepreneurs throughout Ontario. I have been a lawyer now for about a couple of years. My main practice area is in immigration and refugee law, and basically, I've been working with immigrants, refugees, assisting them with, establishing status in this country, advocating for their rights, and doing everything that I can to help them make Canada their home. So that's been my work, and I've basically, so that's basically in a nutshell a summary of what I do, and the work really allows me to help people and to advocate on their behalf. Yeah.
Very good. Well, thank you. Those of you who have just joining us, you're joining Faisal Hassan, NDP Facebook page. And I know there's many of you are just started commenting, and we welcome you. We welcome your comments as well for the celebration, and also for the first time to join and celebrate also Somali Heritage Week also means very important to me as well. And I know that many of you in the community leaders have asked for to be contributed, your contributions in the community and being acknowledged and recognized. And here we are celebrating Somali Heritage Week. This year is the official Somali Heritage Week in Ontario. And during this long week, during the week-long period, we recognize and celebrate the rich culture, heritage, and contributions of Somali people. The spirit of Canada's greatness has always been the diversity of its people. Canada has gained measurably from the strengths of its First Nations to the more recent immigrants and refugees who have come to its shore. And these people have brought their culture, their traditions, and their values. This week-long observance covers a significant time in the history of the Somali community. Somalis from Somali regions in the Horn of Africa celebrate their independence during this week, June 26th, June 27th, and July 1st. Somali Heritage Week is an important reminder of who we are, an occasion to honor and celebrate our past and present. As I wish each and every one of you who are joining us a happy Somali Heritage Week, I look forward when we can all gather in person again and join as one in a week of celebrations. Those who have just joining now, I know Ayan is also here. Welcome, Ayan Muse. And also, I know Faris was here also, and perhaps he had a bit technical issues, but we hope that he will be joining us to celebrate this evening. Before further ado, welcome, Ayan.
Hi. Sorry I'm late, guys. I was rushing on the 401, but I'm happy to be here with everyone. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. We also really appreciate for taking the time and joining us. And there was others also who have said they're joining us tonight. But I know that because of the schedules and things like that, but we still hope that they will join us to celebrate together. And what does it mean to you, Ayan, Somali Heritage Week, and how do you see it honoring and reflecting it from your perspective as an artist and as a painter?
As an artist, I always try to incorporate a little bit of my Somali background into my artwork. What it means, like Somali culture, what it means to me is being proud of the people that we are, being proud of our culture, our language, our food, our dress, and to preserve it in whatever we do. I'm an artist. I try to preserve it in that space. And wherever we go, wherever we're immigrating to, making sure that we're preserving our culture in those spaces as well.
It's very important. I think Faris is back. Hi. I think we lost you a minute ago. Faris Adam, can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, brother. I'm sorry. Just my connection was really bad.
Okay, can we? Here you are.
I'm on my laptop now. Alhamdulillah.
Very, very good. Now let's see you. Good to see you. And also those who have just joined, that's wondering who is Faris Adam is. He's a well-known model and works really. He will tell us more about it, and we are proud of the work you're doing in the modeling world.
Thank you. How's everyone today?
Very good, very good.
Alhamdulillah. So I'm Faris Adam. I was born in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I live in Scarborough. So I do modeling, but mostly the work that I love to do, I do youth council as well, like youth mentorship for the Toronto Raptors in Regent Park. So that's like my favorite thing to do. I mentor youth in the community, help them grow, all the kids that are going through high school, going through middle school, help them develop the skills they need to survive in Toronto, because it's a hard place to live in, right?
I know.
It's a hard place to live in, but yeah, through modeling and doing youth mentorship, gave me opportunities to be here today, talk to you guys and stuff like that. So alhamdulillah.
Well, we are proud of you, the work you're doing, and definitely there's so many Somali modeling in the modeling world, but very rare Somali men, and that is
very rare. But there's a lot. There's a lot.
Tell us more about that. We would like to hear. Yeah,
there's a lot of Somali people, especially like if they're like in Italy and like Europe, not really in Canada. So like maneuvering through like these situations as like a Muslim, as a Somali is very different, because people look at you very odd. They don't really know what Somali people are. They think, oh, you're Dominican. I'm like, no, I'm from Africa. I'm Somali. So they kind of look at us different. But since now that I've been doing like a lot of this work, I'm trying to make it know I'm Somali. Make sure drill it into their head so they know.
Yeah, well, that's great. We need more men modeling, of course, because we like to see, in that industry grow. Definitely, we'll come back to you. Would like to share. I mean, if you would have any stories to share with us, how does it feel? How do you feel? But I know you were born in Toronto, second generation, third generation. To also feel how you are Ontarian, Somali, Canadian, and reflecting that your culture and your heritage and your contributions you're making to this industry.
I feel like as a Somalian, like I'm thankful for you for even making this week happen. Like it's I've never really thought about, because when I was when I was like as a kid in school, you always hear like there will be, Black History Month. There'll be different cultures have their own different weeks or months. But as a Somali, you always feel like, we deserve something. We've been here a long time. We deserve something. So
Yeah.
even having this week is just is beautiful. It's an eye opener. Like, how far can we take these things? How far can we go elevate our people? And I just want to thank you for elevating our people. We can take it to a whole new level now, inshallah.
Very good. Thank you very much. I know Ayan Mose is also a painter. Tell us more about the work you're doing.
Hi, so yeah, I'm a painter. I took it seriously about like a year or two ago. And what was important for me was to just paint stories about people that look like me, because you don't really see that when you're going into art galleries or museums. So when I'm like creating art, I always try to reference our culture, our colors, especially like Somali women and their duras. And just in general, like African hairstyles, other African cultures, and the African diaspora in my work as well. So I'm a fairly new artist. I'm just starting out. I hope to make it in a space where I'm doing work like Ferris, where I can help other youth as well that look like me to get into the art space as well. So
That's
yeah.
great. Very good. I know Bashir Munya, chef. You are a famous chef, and everybody loves food. And there's so many contributions of the Somali food. Tell us more
You
about it.
know, I know when I made it, really, I know when I became really big, when I hosted my first dinner called the Nomadic Supper. Nomadic Supper was my own way to show to the Canadian, the people in Ontario, about the vibrancy, not only about multi-ethnic African cuisine, but how are enriching the customs and the tradition that Somali people have. So for the first time, I hosted a dinner in my restaurant where they were able to remove their shoes, sitting down on the floor, being grounded, breaking bread with people, and being able to offer rice and goat meat and engaging people on using their hands. And my wife told me, you want white people to come to your restaurant, they're gonna remove their shoes, they're gonna be eating beris and anybody with their own hands, and they're gonna be paying you $80. And I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, why is it possible for other culture for us to go to a Japanese restaurant and celebrate sushi, or going to an Italian restaurant and being able to use a cutlery to eat with pasta, whatever it might be. And so for me, for the longest time, it's been, how do we as a Somali people contribute and enrich other cultures and so forth. So food has always been a vessel for me to really be able to engage in a different conversation. I'm currently at York University doing my Master in Environmental Studies. I'm like 3 weeks away from submitting my dissertation. And now that I'm teaching at George Brown College, I'm really engaged in a conversation in centering the BIPOC experience in the post-secondary color education. So what does it mean when you are a person of color, specifically as a Black child, navigating through European lenses for you to acquire the academic expectations that are needed without losing your own personal identity? And that's been my own personal experience living in Italy and growing up without Somali people around me, without growing up with any Black folks, except growing up in a Christian Catholic boarding school and being able to maintain my own identity. So for the past 20 years, it's been a journey for me, not only to find my own identity as a Somali person, but finding the joy that before was negated to us. Growing up in a very Eurocentric space, you told from your master colonizer about all the shame and stigma and taboo that are associated with our own community, Black folks in general, but specifically for me as a Somali person. So having had the opportunity to find a lot of beautiful Somali people in my life for the past 25 years, not only that enrich me with the context, historical places about how Somali food is delicious and vibrant. And sometimes people, they might look and it's like, what's the big deal? You guys eating like camel meat and goat and rice and banana, but there is a lot of a beautifulness within that composition of a plate, specifically for us that we come from a pastoral community. Once we migrated here in Canada, we became sedentary. We don't have the same lifestyle that we had it when we were back home. And this new lifestyle that we're having, it's having also a major impact on the health of our own community. So it's important for me not only to think back home, how we used to conduct our life around food, but also now that we are here in Canada, how do we adapt to a new food system that is also somewhat detrimental to our own health? Because the experiences that we are having are very similar to the experience of Indigenous people right here. So as much as I love to be able to celebrate, diversity, multiculturalism, I always want to take a moment to reflect that we are an Indigenous land as well. So as many times that we are imposing ourselves, even with this 1 week celebration of Somali people, which I think it's something meaningful, that it's important, I never really want to lose focus of the experience of Indigenous people, because as an Indigenous person of Somalia, I also have a historical context, what happened to our own community when we had a colonization from Italian people. So now we're finding ourselves 7 years later, 6 years later, taking a moment to reflect the same experiences that we had it to the experiences that Indigenous people are still experiencing at this moment right now. So thank you, Faisal, for pushing forward Bill 180. I'm really grateful to be part of this particular experience, and I'm looking forward to carry on those conversations.
Well, thank you. That's excellent. And I know that Farah, you are a lawyer, and I know that the Somalis, when they came here, they weren't welcomed. I mean, it was a challenge. The policies was very difficult, and majority of them we put them into backlog, and it was very tough time, even though they were fleeing from war-torn country and fleeing from a difficult time. I'm talking about the in the 90s, because there was different waves of Somalis coming from the Horn of Africa, but those fleeing from war and civil war was not welcomed this country at the beginning. They have to wait many years for their documentations. Some of them, they were put into undocumented, and majority of them have actually left Canada to the United States and have settled many parts of Ohio and Minneapolis and other parts of the United States, because they were not welcoming at the beginning. Those who remained have also had difficulties and challenges, economic issues, and so forth. Could you highlight those historical difficulties that the community have gone through?
Yeah, so with respect to Somalia in general, and especially when we had the fall of the government of the Barre regime, Siad Barre regime, it has been very difficult journey unfortunately for Somalis to make their way here, and to establish their identity, to establish that they have the proper documents. So a lot of the one of the biggest issues within the Somali asylum claims remains to be identity, right? And basically, it's the issue here is that the documents that were reliable, the documents that were used before, that the government relied on for authenticity, those were, ever since you had the fall of the last fully functioning government there, it's been essentially chaotic with respect to getting, with respect to producing reliable documents from that country. And so unfortunately, a lot of them are finding themselves in a position where they have to go the extra step to prove their identity, even though they speak Somali, they are Somali, right? And but the issue then becomes, okay, you have to go extra step, more so than others from many other countries that have more established governments, to prove their identity. So proving identity becomes, it's doable, right? It's something that that can be done, but it becomes an extra hurdle. And so that's the issue that many Somalis are finding themselves in, right? And my role is to, when I'm representing when I'm representing a Somali client, is to go above and beyond to prove their identity, right? And to convince the board the Immigration and Refugee Board. They handle asylum claims in this country to prove to them that this person is who he says he is. So I think that we are the refugee lawyer, the bar. We are advocating for ways for those I guess policies of the board to change, right? With respect to Somali refugees, we are actually we are lobbying. We are doing what we can to voice our concerns with respect to changing that aspect of the refugee system that's disproportionately affecting certain people from certain countries, and Somalia is one of those countries that this is unfortunately affecting. And so those, in a nutshell, those have been the issues that the main issue that Somali refugees have been facing with respect to settling into this country. And we hope that these, changes will be made in the near future about this. And so that's why you see, and as I said, this doesn't apply to all Somali refugees. There have been quite a few that have been coming here, settling here, establishing their identity and making Canada their home, right? But there are also some that are also unfortunately caught in this issue, right? And it's quite unfortunate that they're being treated like that, even though there now is a Somali government. But the issue is that it shouldn't be held against them that because of what's happening in that country, right? Because what's happening in Somalia, they shouldn't have to pay the price because there are, the board feels that there are no reliable institutions there. They shouldn't have to pay the price for that, right? They shouldn't have to go the extra step, extra mile. I wouldn't even say extra step. I would say extra mile, more than any of the other refugee claimants that I know with respect to establishing identity. Identity is just the big issue with respect to this, right? And it shouldn't be. Yeah.
Thank you, Farah. I know that Ayan is sitting patiently. Show us. Do you have your work? Tell us more about what you do, and we are proud of your work, and so that the community and the rest of the world knows the work you do.
Thank you. So luckily I had a few paintings. I can't share my screen because I'm on my iPhone, but I'll show you this one.
Mm-hmm.
This is a print. I don't know if you guys can see it. But
beautiful. Yes. That's direct.
Yeah, this is a print, but it's like a painting that I completed of a girl just post quarantine. She's in the park daydreaming. This is another painting that I just finished.
Amazing.
So I like to play on African hairstyles, ancient African hairstyles. So in this one, she's wearing a threaded hairstyle. It's like a fashionable hairstyle in Africa. And it's like another portrait that I've done. And then, I have one more to show you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I have this one that I just completed this week. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah, we can see it clearly. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah,
we can see it. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of my work is centered around Black people, Black women, Black empowerment. I try to make the figures as bold looking as possible, just to have something that people can look at for inspiration or just connection with. Like I said, again, it's hard for Black people to find pictures that look like themselves in the art space. When I went to the MoMA in 2018, I saw basically no paintings of Black people. And it kind of inspired me to show my culture as well. On my Instagram, I have more cultural based paintings, but it's important for me to make people see the different types of people that are in the world around them that they experience every day.
Amazing. And I mean, people who would be interested to view it, what is your Instagram?
My Instagram is
handle?
Ayan Museum. I will put it in the chat.
Oh, that's great.
And then you guys could probably just click the link from there.
Very good. Well, thank you very much. That's awesome. And I know that
Thank
we're getting
you.
some questions coming in. People love food. And Lenny is asking, I would love to know from Chef Mounier the third or fourth ingredients that are staples of the traditional Somali kitchen. Yeah, Somali kitchen.
Before, if you don't mind, before answering to that question, I just want to give it a comment to what Ayan is mentioning when it comes about the lack of a identity within
Yes.
the art world.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, like she was mentioning that at MoMA there is nothing like that. You know, one of our family friends, his name is Kenneth Montague. I'm not sure if you know him, Ayan. He's the quintessential Black art curator in Canada. So I'm gonna put on the post for you. He's the person when it comes about enriching, showcasing, and representing Black art in Canada. His name is Kenneth Montague, and he's also on the board of the director of the AGO. He's a Jamaican descendant, but when it comes about the affinity and love for Black art, Kenneth Montague is the person to go. Daytime job is a fantastic dentist, but is very known not only as a philanthropist, but also as the ultimate Black art curator in Canada. And then his best friend as well, a very close family friend, the name is Thelma Golden, which is like the most famous Black art curator in the United States. And she has a school in New York City by Harlem called the Studio by Thelma Golden. So Kenneth Montague is the art curator, and the woman in the States that she has brought a lot of important influence of curating Black art. The name is Thelma Golden. So just because I love art, my daughter is also an artist as well.
And that's amazing. No, thank you,
awesome.
Bashir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bashir. Yeah. That connections connecting Ayan to that will be great, so they can showcase their work there. It will be awesome.
Yeah, so going back when it comes about the third or fourth ingredient within the Somali diet, Somali diet is very broad and complex. We have a food pre-colonization, the one that sustained the people, the nomads. We come from a pastoral culture. We don't really have an agrarian history. As a pastoral culture, we consume more camel meat per capita than any other countries around the world. Throughout our journey, okay, we have a moment that is called Gu, which is like the raining season. And during the raining season, the nomads are able to flourish. They're able to provide food for the cattle, and through this journey, they were able to sustain themselves. Some people here, they call it foraging, being able to live from what the land provides you. So we'll find dates, mangoes, papaya, tropical fruit. So when I think about Somali food pre-colonization, those were primarily the staples, the meat that is being given, the seafood that is being given from the ocean, not too much, because a lot of the Somali people they were never really been impressed with the ocean, primarily because we have plenty of sharks as well. But the staple for the Somali food nowadays is primarily known based on the trade that we had with Indian people. So we consume plenty of rice, traditionally the way Indian community eat. We have a hawashi, which is like a garam masala, similar to a curry without, the turmeric and so forth. So that's the staple. And we consume more bananas per capita on a plate than any other cultures around the world. So when I think about the Somali diet, the ones that I crave, because that's not what I cook. It's not what I teach in a culinary institution at Joe Brown College. But when my body is aching for something, usually it's aching for beris, hilibari, and a little side of a banana with some best. But we have also sorghum. We have different ways of preserving food. So we have the national dish might be otka. We might have a mufo, but nowadays it's made primarily with white flour, which is also not really great for our own diet, because ancestrally, that's not the food we used to consume. We had maybe either corn, or we had a sorghum as well. So when it comes about the Somali kitchen diet, I always think about the food that the nomads had it. Later on through colonization, we were also introduced to pasta. We were introduced to other things that it was not necessarily part of our DNA, but we embraced it. And some of that diet is also really, it also has an impact on our own health as well. So those were some of the my own personal findings when it comes about Somali food and diet. We also had in the northern region influence of the French cooking. In the northern east in Finland, we had a lot of influence of the British colony. The southern region by Italians as well. We have influence from Portuguese, but primarily the staple of the Somali household. For me, it's like a lot of influence of Indian cuisine, the way we cook, the way we dress, the way we consume the food. I think a lot of the influence came from that region of the influence of Indian cuisine.
And that's because close to the Indian Ocean, on the other side of the Indian Ocean, is the Indian subcontinent. Yes, absolutely. And I think, well, a lot of people are joining us. Those who have just joined, you're joining Faisal Hassan, NDP, my page, and also Twitter, and also YouTube. And tonight is the first day and the first time in Ontario that we are celebrating and Somali Heritage Week, and it starts June 25th, and also ends July 1st, and that also coincides with Canada Day and also a Somali Day as well. And also it has a significant days also on the week. That is also the June 26th and June 27th and July 1st as well. So it's a week of meaningful and also very historic to the Somalis in the Horn of Africa and greater Horn of Africa as well, beyond the Indian Ocean as well. So I know that Farah, you have also supported the Somali Heritage Week, and also as you reflect now that we cannot come together now because of the COVID and pandemic, but also it means, what does it mean to you?
Um, Somali Heritage Week, right?
Yep.
Well, I think it is a historic bill. It's one that recognizes the Somali people and the Somali culture, and their presence in this country in general, in this province in particular, and as well as their contributions, and the fact that that we are a very large community, even though yes, we are an ethnic minority community. It's the community is growing significantly, especially if you compare it over the last decade. And so I think it means a lot to me, to many Somalis, that there is an event that actually recognizes this community, this growing community, right? And so we're no longer just a community that has just come here just recently, and we're just small. We're a community that has significant establishment and presence in all spheres of life, in various organizations, in politics, as you know here, right? We have significant members among us right now that have achieved quite a lot, right? We have an artist, we have a chef who's also a professor as well, right? And so there are significant, so it recognizes all of this, right? And so Somali people are not just people that are just restricted. There are people that are now have essentially are in all of the major spheres that you can think of in life, right? And so whether it's in sports, music, culinary, food, art, law, medicine, all of the major, all of the major, aspects of life. So I think it means quite a lot to have this, and I'm glad that we're able to, that this bill was passed. Yeah.
Well, and also, acknowledging the contributions, significant contributions the Somali community is making to Ontario is also very important. And also, the province of Manitoba has also passed a Somali Heritage Week as well. the second jurisdiction in North America, and that's also something that folks from Manitoba can also celebrate as we do here in Ontario. And Ayan, what does it mean to you? I mean, I know that Faris talked about, as a schoolboy, the challenges, when he sees people celebrating their own cultural heritage, and he said that it's about time to also celebrate our own heritage and culture as Ontarians.
Yeah, I think just like Farah was saying, the community here in Canada, let alone Toronto, is like really big. So to be acknowledged publicly and have other people celebrate our culture too, is good because I guess it shows some type of acceptance towards like just the diversity of our city, our country, and an actual embrace from the country with about our culture. So
Very good. And I know that many of you have those who've just joined. We are celebrating Somali Heritage Week, and this week, week of 25th, it starts Somali Heritage Week, and I have distinguished a guest and others supposed to be joining us, but unfortunately they had issues. But definitely we'll have them another time to reflect, or we might be able to join next year together face to face to celebrate. I know, Chef Mounier, that people loved food. I mean, because it's important to us, because that's what sustains us, our existence. And I know you have also been frequent at the Star restaurant, which is also in the heart of the community. Tell us more work you do, also helping other restaurants in the Somali culture here in Toronto.
I feel as a person who's been in the food industry for over 20 years, I feel that is also part of my own responsibility to support the members of my own community. I see an immense sense of a pride when I find someone like Easter Restaurant that has been really rooted in the heart of the community. I remember his mother opened up this little shop back in the 90s when a lot of Somali people were fleeing war, coming to a place in the city of Toronto and finding someone that looks like them, speak their own language, provide them with food that is culturally appropriate to them. To me, there is such an immense value to that particular thing. And for Mohammed, which is Sarlene's son, to be able to have seen the value of his own mother and been able to carry on the legacy for over 21 years now. So to me, as a guy who lives in downtown Toronto, who's always in a Eurocentric space, being able to travel all the way down to the West End and finding the growth of this restaurant over the years, from a small little cafe to opening a restaurant, to opening a banquet hall, having a production kitchen downstairs. So it's shown a lot of a growth. The place is beautiful, it's clean, it's vibrant. So I feel that this is like one of those restaurants in the Somali community that is a lot of a pride and joy, not only for the Somali people, but also for other communities to come to the restaurant and being able to see the vibrancy within our own food. He has this beautiful hot table with tandoori chicken and salmon and pasta and salt, So I love the fact that it's trying to cater to the new generation of Somalis, but in the same time being able to maintain the dishes that are so deeply entrenched within our own heritage. The salt, the ambulo, which is a couple of beans, for him to do the malawa, the angelo. And those are not food that I cook in school at Joe Brown College. Those are not food that I commonly cook in my own home. But any time that I'm needing for something that is a culturally appropriate to me, I tend to gravitate towards Somali restaurant because they make me feel home. They bring me an element of a nostalgia. So I take a lot of immense pride and joy, and also to reflect that, there are a lot of people who are competent and knowledgeable food consultant, but I feel sometimes that we don't need no white saviorism. Within our own community, we have a lot of experts that can provide immense amount of knowledge and expertise to support our own community. I don't feel that it's right for other community who don't really understand the historical context, the Somali nuance that we have, to come and tell our own community on how we should be catering to our own community. So I had the honor and the privilege to work with Mohammed to ensure that he maintains the things that are really important for our own community. So the community can still celebrate at the restaurant 20 years later. So those are the things that brings me a lot of pride and joy to be able to see not only the contribution of the Somali restaurant for the Somali community, but also to the broader spectrum of society as well.
Amazing. And I mean, I've been to Istar many times. It's also 24 hours restaurant. Imagine how they maintain that. A 24-hour clock never stops, and different people coming each time. So that's awesome. Um, I know that those of you who have joining us, you have been really congratulating us, and this is also the beginning of also many celebrations happening this week. And if you have the time, join the Zoom and others are doing it, because there isn't really a face-to-face event happening at the moment because of we are in the middle of a pandemic. And this week-long celebrations is starting today, the Friday, June 25th, and will be concluded week-long celebrations on July 1st. Many things is happening, and I know that also, Ayan, if somebody wants to buy your arts in the community, how do they get to get in touch with you?
So I mainly do purchases through Instagram and email. If you go on my Instagram and you follow my Instagram, there is a button to email me, and that's usually how I sell work. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to say that as well.
No, that's great. So that is actually, I'll just put it maybe here quickly, and that is Ayan. Just give me a minute. I'll just share with you guys so you can quick with Ayan, Museum, right?
Yes.
That's where you
Ion
can
Museum.
Ayan Museum, yeah. That's where you can get it, folks. And that is actually Instagram. Let me just do that. Instagram. I'll do that right away.
Thank you.
And so that .com and then // and then that is Ayan Museum. Yeah, there you guys. So some of the folks there have been asking that exactly. Where can we get if we want to buy it? So there, folks, there you can. That's where you can check it out. Instagram.com / Iron Museum. So connect with her through there, and we appreciate for actually. We are proud of the work you're doing, and many folks are actually saying that, like Rahma saying, we are so proud of you, and so forth, and also Naima says you guys are also amazing for the work you are doing, and they are thanking you again. I know that this will be the first year in Ontario. We are celebrating a Somali Heritage Week, and hopefully, next year we can actually come together, and perhaps you can also invite us, or maybe we can invite you other events and teach others as well. So I know that we have 7 more minutes. What do you think for your concluding remarks and reflection, and also honoring the community in this regard? I'll start with Farah Issa.
Sorry. Yeah. So I mean, I think we've come a long way as a community. Many of us arrived here under difficult circumstances, fleeing war, fleeing civil conflict, and we've come a very, very long way as a Somali community. And I think we need to continue this path to make a difference in this country, and to help others, and to have an optimistic mindset, right? And to always, strive to be, productive members. That we already are productive members of this community, of this country, and to basically take things to another level, to keep improving. And there's always room for improving our community, and to and basically to, keep advancing as a Somali community, and so those are my, and so this is a very significant milestone in my opinion about this week. This Somali Heritage is significant milestone, and I want to thank you, Faisal, for all the hard work that you have put into actually making this a reality. So and this is very much a historic event. And so I think, yeah, so those are my thoughts on.
And if anyone wants to contact you, I know you have an office. Do you have any social media we can share with the folks tonight? Any handle that you use on Instagram, Facebook, or also
Yeah,
Twitter?
so I have a website, so it's isalaw.ca, ISSALAW.ca.
Isa,
And
www dot
yeah, www.issa law.ca.
law.
So that's basically the firm
Very
website.
good. And that's where you guys can contact.
Yeah.
Issa is a lawyer, immigration lawyer, and he has been very helpful to the community, supporting them. And you can get www.issa.ca.
Yeah,
Issa Law.
ISSA, yeah.
Yeah,
Two
ISSAA law dot com dot
Yeah.
ca, sorry, dot ca. So okay, Ayan, I know that you're busy with the arts and you're doing a lot of positive things, and I want to your reflection tonight as we end this conversation. Of course, we will have more conversations in the future to also showcase your work, and definitely folks can also check you in Instagram as well. Ayan Museum, folks, check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me, Faisal, and thank you for all the work that you're doing also in office and to give us a platform to showcase our work. I think it's amazing. We have here a lawyer, a chef, we had a model and an artist, and it just shows how Somali people are moving towards being productive change makers in our cities. So I'm hoping this week is full of celebrations for how far we've come, just like Farah said.
Very good. Well, thank you. I know everybody wants to meet Chef Bashir Monia and the work you're doing. What does it mean to you, Bashir Monia, this historic bill, and also, to reflect and to honor those of us who are doing a significant work in Ontario?
Yeah, as I was mentioning, it brings me, an immense sense of a pride and joy for me to kind of reflect on the contribution of our own community. But I want to leave you maybe with this one. I think this is like the quintessential, fruit that we eat in our community as well, and those are timir. And I guess because we are from the land of poets, I want to look into this timir and thinking that I'm actually walking on the shoulders of the people in our own community that paved the road for me. So as much as I am now being able to enjoy the fruits of it, I'm going to take a moment to kind of reflect on the meaningfulness of the timir. So there was this elder that was actually, planting seeds of dates in the middle of the desert. And this young fellow went to this elder and said, Adero, what are you doing? And the elder said, I'm planting seeds of dates. And the young guy looked at him and was like, Ader, the timir, the dates, is going to take 80 years before you're going to be able to really savor the sweetness. And the elder said to him, I'm not planting those seeds at this moment right now for me to be able to benefit the sweetness of the dates. I'm planting it because when I was walking through the desert, and the desert can be an analogy to talk about the experience of oppression that we had over the past 40 years in Canada, the goal is for me to plant them so the next generation will be able to enjoy and savor the sweetness of the dates. So to me, the analogy of the dates is to think and reflect to all of those Somali people who've been fighting and advocating for this bill as an example, for many of the things that we really have been doing to really showcase the vibrancy of our own community. So I want to thank you, Faisal, for passing the bill, but also want to thank, Farah and also Ayan to showcase that there is such a diversity of meaningfulness within our contribution. So, to you again, here's the dates, and to take always a moment to reflect on those ones who really paved the way for our own community.
Very well said. Thank you. And is there a way people can contact you on social media that you would like to share with them, Munya?
Yeah, sure. Like you can go on my website. It's bashirmunya.com.
Bashir.
And you can also find me on Instagram at Chef Bashir.
Okay, you guys, you hear that? Yes, there you can go, bashirmunya.com. And also you can check him on Instagram as well. Well, thank you, those of you who have joined, those of you who have been joining us on social media, Faisal Hassan, NDP Facebook, and also YouTube. If you have not subscribed my YouTube, you take the opportunity to subscribe, because you can get also instant notices and notifications quickly. And also you can also view videos, more previous videos as well. So there. And well, thank you for joining us, and thank you to my distinguished guest. Bashir Munya is a professor at the George Brown College, and also a well-known chef in our community. And also Farah Isse is a lawyer here in Toronto, and also Ayan Muse is an artist who also shared tonight her work. Please support them and continue to support members of our community, shop locally, support each other. Until then, folks, you can reach my office if you need any help, any issues pertaining to provincial issues. You can reach me fhassan-co@ndp.on.ca, or you can reach me at 416-243-7984. Well, folks, until then, thank you, and thank you for joining us tonight. Good night. Talk to you then later. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.